The mess hall table vibrated. Dr. Quillen recognized the frequency as structural stress, the kind that usually preceded a hull breach or a cadet being thrown into bulkheads, which meant this was the 12th time this semester he'd felt it. None of the previous 11 involved the human getting hurt. Station Kepler 7 orbited nothing important. A gas giant with a name nobody remembered, in a system nobody visited. That was the point. The Academy put its multi-species military training hub in places where collateral damage stayed contained. Dr. Quillen had read that in his orientation packet 3 years ago, before the bitterness set in. He was junior medical staff, provisional status, his first posting after residency. The Morvith didn't usually send their new graduates to mixed species stations, but Quillen had requested it. Wanted to see something beyond his home cluster. Wanted to treat patients who didn't all have the same throat anatomy. 11 human-adjacent injuries this semester. Sprained wrists from handshakes that went too long. Bruised ribs from a Sorn who didn't understand personal space. A Pelox with a cracked carapace after a human tried to help them lift a supply crate. None of the humans got hurt. I'll be honest with you, watching her eat that pasta, I thought she was oblivious. I was wrong. The human had been here for weeks. Isoled, compact, dark-haired, with eyes that tracked movement the way a surveillance system did. Except she was smiling. Always smiling. Dr. Quillen had noted it in her file as inappropriate effect, possible neurological damage, or combat stimulant use. He hadn't submitted that note yet. Something made him hold it. She sat with her back to the wall. Every meal, every shift. He assumed it was survival instinct, the kind of hypervigilance Deathworlders developed in high-predator environments. He'd log that observation too. Provisional pending review. Do you guys not season food here? Or is that a cultural choice? Isolde poked at her tray. The cafeteria fork was unremarkable. Standard issue. Slightly bent at the second tine from someone using it to pry open a ration pack. She used it to lift a piece of reconstituted pasta, examined it, shrugged, and took a bite. The Culfrey cadets had been watching her for 3 days. Their ranking system worked on biometric aggregation, test scores, combat simulations, physical output, recovery rates. It auto-assigned corrective actions when a cadet's performance fell outside expected parameters. Isolde's test scores had triggered the algorithm. Not because she failed, but because the system couldn't parse her results. Tier 0 classification, Deathworld origin. But her reaction times kept coming back as errors. The sensors couldn't find her upper limit. So the system did what systems do. It assigned 5 Apex Cadets to correct the anomaly. They approached in formation. Culfrey were built for intimidation. 7-foot primary claws, secondary eyelids that gave their faces a permanent squint. The one in front had scars across his forearm ridges. Combat training scars. The kind you got from winning. Isolde didn't look up. She stirred her pasta. The table vibrated again. Dr. Quillen's throat patches flickered amber. First time today. He pressed his palm against his neck to calm them. Junior medical staff weren't supposed to show stress. Provisional or not. You're the human, the scarred Culfrey said. Isolde chewed, swallowed. That's me. We reviewed your file. Must have been exciting reading. I mostly eat and sleep. The Culfrey behind him shifted weight. Dr. Quillen counted 5 of them. Apex Cadets. The kind who got deployed to pacification zones before graduation. Their secondary eyelids were closed, the equivalent of narrowed focus. We're here to correct your ranking, the scarred one said. Isolde looked at her fork, then at her pasta, then at the 5 cadets surrounding her table. Is this a cultural thing? Should I be honored? She asked it like she meant it. Not sarcasm. Genuine curiosity. Dr. Quillen had seen humans use that tone before, usually right before something escalated. The scarred Culfrey reached for her shoulder. Isolde moved. Not fast. Not yet. She just leaned back. The claw passed through empty air. She used the table edge to redirect his momentum. A pivot that didn't look like a combat technique until his chest hit the deck plating. The vibration stopped. Dr. Quillen's throat patches flared brighter. The second cadet came in low. Tail strike to her shoulder. Isolde absorbed it. She didn't fall, didn't stumble. Dr. Quillen watched her shift her weight. Not just her legs, her entire skeleton. The impact redistributed across bones that shouldn't have been able to do that. She kept eating. The third cadet grabbed for her fork. Isolde sighed. Not a battle cry, not a warning, just a small exhale through her nose, the way someone might react to spilled coffee. She twisted her wrist, and the fork became a lever. The cadet's joint locked. He went down without a sound. 4 remained standing. Then 3. Dr. Quillen's throat patches were full amber now. He couldn't hide it. His palm pressed against his neck did nothing. The light bled between his fingers. The scarred Culfrey pushed himself up from the deck. His claws had left 4 gouges in the tile, deep ones, the kind that would need replacement. He looked at his own hands, then at Isolde. She was still sitting. The cadet on the left, Dr. Quillen didn't know his name, but he noted the age. 19 standard cycles. Same as his youngest nephew. The cadet's primary claws had locked open. A stress response. He couldn't close them. He kept staring at his own hands like they belonged to someone else. Isolde stood up. The acceleration was wrong. Dr. Quillen had seen combat launches, thruster burns, magnetic catapults. This wasn't that. This was a human body moving from seated to standing in a fraction of a second that his Morvith eyes couldn't track. One frame she was sitting. Next frame she was upright. No transition. No blur. The 5 cadets backed away. Not a tactical retreat. Not regrouping. They backed away because something in their hindbrains told them to. The prey flip. Dr. Quillen had read about it in xenobiology. When a predator realizes it's not the apex anymore. The cadets didn't choose to step back. Their bodies chose for them. Is the med bay open? Isolde asked the question directly to Dr. Quillen across the mess hall, past the 5 frozen Culfrey. Her voice was calm, conversational. He nodded. Good. One of them is going to need ice. She picked up her fork. The cadets didn't move. She walked past them to the recycler bay. Her footsteps were quiet on the deck plates. She didn't look back. At the counter, she folded her napkin, placed it on the tray. The fork went into the utensil slot. Then she pressed the recycler button. The machine hummed. Somewhere on deck 4, Isolde's pasta became atoms again. The 5 cadets stayed frozen until the recycler finished its cycle. Medical bay. 20 minutes later, Dr. Quillen ran the data. The Culfrey had refused treatment. Pride, probably, but their biometrics were logged automatically. Combat stress markers. Elevated cortisol. Heart rate still elevated 40% above baseline. Isolde sat on an exam table. No injuries. No marks. Her vitals were steady. He pulled up her file. DWD-41. Human fast twitch muscle fiber activation. 0.08 seconds. Alien species average across the Academy's database. 0.31 seconds. DWD-42. Human skeletal impact redistribution. Simultaneous across 206 bones. Culfrey. 87 bones. Impact concentrated at the point of contact. DWD-43. Human adrenal output during the confrontation classified as mild annoyance on human physiological scales. The Culfrey's biometrics registered the same event as lethal combat. Dr. Quillen's throat patches flared again. Second time today he stopped trying to hide it. Your smile, he said. During the confrontation, I logged it as inappropriate effect, possible neurological damage. Isolde looked at him. That same easy expression.